All right, shalom to you. This is Teddy here in Israel. Izzy's over on the counter getting some food and water right now. He's just been outside. And I just wanted to give you here on Bomb Shelter Bibles updates on what's going on. Here we have the United Arab Emirates making recently new agreements with Israel, and this is improving the space sector in the UAE through this business relationship that is deepening. And also they just sent they just built an embassy in Tel Aviv for the UAE. So that's what's going on here on Bomb Shelter Bibles. All right, and we're back, and I wanted to get some headlines out of the way here. What's been going on over here in Israel, and one thing is really strange is what's going on here with Ben and Jerry's, and what they're saying there is that they're not happy with Jewish people and living here, for example, in what they call the West Bank, but this is actually Samaria. This is where I am. It's not simply the West Bank of the Jordan River, as if it really has no meaning. This is the heartland of Israel. This is the center of the country. Actually, I'm in the center here, north to south, east to west. This is the center of the country, from the sea to the Jordan River. And then from the north, the border of Lebanon and Syria, all the way down to Eilat, in the center, north to south. That is where we are right here. So Israel goes on making these great agreements with peaceful Arab nations such as Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates, and the business relationships are prospering there. But the American company Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream, which was bought by Unilever in the year 2000, but they permitted Ben & Jerry's to maintain their own board of directors to make their own decisions. So this is kind of a Unilever decision, but more likely it is more of a board of directors Ben & Jerry's decision to withdraw their ice cream from my settlement here, and from settlements that they consider to be Palestinian occupied areas. Well, it's really strange, because all around the rest of the world, when see this area here where I am was between 1948 and 1967. It was a territory or a part of the Kingdom of Jordan. Only from 1948, after World War II, to 1967, the Six-Day War. So, give or take, about 20 years. 19 years, Jordan basically ruled over this land where I sit right now. All right, that was a temporary situation, obviously. Jordan, actually, as far as I know, didn't really officially annex it to their territory. But anyway, when the Six-Day War happened, Israel saw that Egypt was lining up on the southern border. Syria was lining up for war on the northern border. Israel reached out to the Kingdom of Jordan and said, listen, we're allies, we're friends. You don't have to get into this war, do you? Really? You don't really need to get into this war. You can just kind of sit on the sidelines, right? Wouldn't that be great if you could just sit on the sidelines? Because Israel is a little bit busy as it is already on two fronts with Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, right? Who knows who else might jump in and get involved, right? Jordan didn't listen to that. They got involved anyway. They got involved in the war. Israel was fighting on many fronts all at the same time, and it was over in 6 days because Elohim was with Israel, like we see from Ezekiel 36 in the video yesterday. Elohim protected Israel, made sure that Israel won. You could attribute it to some kind of military technology, whatever, but that's not really honestly, showing what really happened there. There was miracles involved in that. And Jordan lost a lot of land. This land here where I sit, including half of Jerusalem and a huge triangle of land going from Jerusalem radiating out towards the Jordan River. Jordan, the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, lost all that land, including this land here in the center of what is now Israel today. Now, Israel did not also officially annex this land because political reasons. I think Israel felt that the nations of the world wasn't really going to agree with that anyway. So that's a complicated issue right there. But Israel has effectively ruled over this land and built houses, built settlements in this area. Since then, there is a combination of Israeli military authority here and Jewish civilian governments, basically in this area. So it's a little bit different than other parts of Israel. But anyway, complicated situation, hard to get into all that. But just suffice to say right now that what American Ben and Jerry's from Vermont is doing right now, basically, they're throwing their Israeli partner, because there's a company here in Israel called Ben & Jerry's Israel. And that is a startup company that's been here for, I don't know, 20, 30 years, 40 years, I think. I'm not sure. I didn't check that. I did check it, but I don't remember. But it's been quite a while. And that Israeli company, Ben & Jerry's Israel, has a licensing agreement with Ben & Jerry's International, Ben & Jerry's America, which is with Unilever. And so Ben & Jerry's Israel has said that they're going to continue selling ice cream even here, even in the so-called settlements. I don't know why they're called settlements. It's a village. Why do they call the Jewish villages settlements as if it's temporary, but the Arab villages right there, right next to us, they call them villages? This is bad terminology. This is false terminology. This is a village. The Arab village over there is a village. This is a Jewish village. There's another Jewish village there. There's another Arab village there. They're villages. This is where people live. People live and work, and people sleep, and people raise their children and walk their dogs and take care of cats, like Izzy right here. And he's running away. He doesn't want to be in the camera today. So basically another 18 months left in the agreement between Ben & Jerry's Israel with Ben & Jerry's USA. So another 18 months, unless something can change, we'll still have Ben & Jerry's ice cream here in the village and in other villages like this. So basically, what American Ben & Jerry's is trying to do is trying to punish us for living here. Basically trying to punish not only me, but Jewish people for living here. They want to say that it ought to be completely illegal for Jews to live in a place like this. Why? Because Jordan ruled over it from 1948 to 1967, so that makes it illegal for Jews to live here now? Listen, international law states that when an aggressor goes against another nation, the way Jordan went against Israel, any land that they lose in the process is fair game. This is international law. It's observed everywhere around the world. Why, in the case of Jordan being the aggressor against Israel, Israel didn't go after Jordan trying to take more land from Jordan. Israel could do that if they wanted to. Biblically, the borders include Jordan as well, but Israel's not doing that. It's called the Israeli Defense Force for defense purposes. International law says that whenever a nation is defending itself against an aggressor nation, any land that they win against the aggressor nation in the process is fair game. So according to international law, this land where I sit here all the way to the Jordan River is permanently a part of Israel. That is according to international law, and Ben & Jerry's shouldn't be melting under the pressure from anti-Semitic boycott, divest, and sanction organizations such as the BDS organization. So see what you can do about contacting BDS and giving them a piece of your mind, and let them know that what this is actually anti-Semitism. We want ice cream here in the settlement. We want ice cream here. All right. Thanks for all your help. Thanks for watching and tuning in to Bomb Shelter Bibles, and we'll catch you in the next video. There's a nice picture of Jaffa, Tel Aviv right there. All right. See you soon. Bye for now.
Do you see that cloud? Do you see that cloud rising out of the sea? Do you see that cloud? It's about the size of a man's hand.